"Get back here. You belong to me." The shout echoes through the freezing night as a woman stumbles forward, blood dripping into the snow. She clutches her baby tight, his tiny cries swallowed by the howling wind. She's running from a man who'd rather see her dead than free. But then she falls, her strength gone, the blizzard closing in. Out of the shadows steps a warrior, bow in hand, eyes sharp as the storm itself. He could walk away. He should walk away. His people would tell him she's not worth the trouble. Yet here he stands, staring at a stranger who might change everything. What would you do if saving someone meant risking all you've ever known? Stick around, because this story's just beginning. Picture this. A young Cheyenne woman named Lila Whitefeather races through the Dakota wilderness, her heart pounding, her breath fogging in the bitter cold. She's got her little son, Koda, pressed tight against her chest, his small body shivering as she stumbles forward. She's running from James Carver, her husband, a white traitor with a temper as cruel as the winter wind. He beat her bloody just for whispering Cheyenne words to Koda, desperate to stamp out her spirit. Now she's wounded, lost, and fighting to keep her boy alive in a land that feels more like a grave than a home. Enter Taka Iron Horse, a Lakota warrior scouting the frozen woods. He spots her, crumpled in the snow, barely breathing. His people have no love for outsiders, not after settlers brought blood and broken promises to their doorstep. He could leave her there, let the storm take her. But then he hears his grandmother's voice in his head, Wise Owl, the old healer who raised him. She always said the heart sees truth where eyes see only shadows. Taka's torn. Duty tells him to walk away, but something deeper pulls him closer. Lila's a fighter, a mother with fire in her soul, and he can't ignore that. This moment, right here, is where their worlds crash together, tense with danger, but alive with hope. Two strangers, one choice, and a story that's about to unfold. So there they are, two souls caught in the grip of a Dakota winter. Taka Iron Horse kneels beside Lila Whitefeather in the snowy forest, his hands steady as he makes a choice that could change everything. His tribe would tell him to keep moving, to leave this Cheyenne woman and her son to their fate. Outsiders bring trouble, they'd say, and they'd be right. But Taka's not listening to them right now. He's looking at Lila, her face pale, her side bleeding from James's last blow. He pulls herbs from his pouch, the kind his grandmother taught him to use, and starts binding her wounds. Then he gets to work on something else, a travois, a simple sled made from branches and leather. It's Lakota know-how at its best, built to carry little Koda safely through the storm. Taka's hands move fast, weaving the pieces together, his breath clouding in the icy air. He's decided to help her, no matter what his people think. Lila watches him, her eyes tired but sharp. She's still clutching Koda, who's finally quiet against her chest. She starts talking, her voice soft but steady, like she's been holding this story inside too long. She tells Taka about James Carver, the man she married, the man who promised her a good life, but delivered only pain. He wanted to civilize her, she says, to scrub away every bit of her Cheyenne blood. He hated when she sang Koda lullabies in her native tongue, hated when she prayed to the spirits instead of his God. It wasn't just her body he broke that night. It was her spirit he tried to crush. She fled not just to save her life, but to save Koda's soul, to make sure he'd grow up knowing who he really is. Her words hang heavy in the air, and Taka listens, his hands pausing on the travois as her story sinks in. She's not just running from a man, she's running toward freedom. Taka doesn't say much at first, but then he opens up, his voice low, like he's pulling the words from a deep well. He tells her about his brother, Hoka, a warrior who laughed like thunder and fought like the wind. Hoka died 2 summers ago, cut down in an ambush by settlers who didn't care who they killed. That day left a scar on Taka's heart and a fire in his tribe's distrust. Helping Lila feels wrong, like he's turning his back on Hoka's memory, on all the pain his people carry. He looks at her, then at Koda, and his jaw tightens. He's caught between two worlds, his duty to his tribe pulling one way, and something else, something bigger, tugging the other. The forest around them is silent, the snow falling soft and thick, like it's waiting for him to decide who he's going to be. Then comes the moment that changes it all. Taka finishes the travois and sets Koda gently onto it, wrapping him in a deer hide to keep him warm. He looks at Lila straight into her eyes and says, "The spirits put you in my path. I can't turn away, even if it costs me." His words aren't loud, but they carry weight, like a promise carved in stone. Lila nods, tears slipping down her cheeks, not from fear but from something like hope. The small fire he's built crackles between them, throwing shadows on the snowy trees. Taka's made his choice, and it's not just about saving her life. It's about honoring something his grandmother, Wise Owl, taught him long ago, that fate isn't just chance, it's a call to act. He doesn't know what's coming, but he knows he's in this now, tied to Lila and Koda by more than just the cold night around them. The bond between them starts here, fragile but real, built on shared pain and a flicker of trust. Taka's fighting a war inside himself, torn between the brother he lost and the lives he's choosing to protect. The snowy forest stretches out, endless and quiet, hiding dangers they can't yet see. Lila's story has lit a spark in him, and his words have given her something to hold on to. They're not just strangers anymore. They're two people stepping into the unknown together, guided by a wisdom that says responsibility isn't about rules, it's about heart. And out there, beyond the trees, the world is watching, waiting to test them both. Meanwhile, back in the settler town, James Carver isn't wasting any time. He's furious, pacing in his trading post, his face red with rage and whiskey. Lila's gone, taken his son and made a fool of him. He can't let that stand. He grabs a sack of gold coins, slams it on the table, and calls in a posse of rough men, the kind who'd sell their own kin for a profit. "Find my wife," he growls, his voice thick with venom. "Bring her back, dead or alive, I don't care which. The boy, too." The men nod, their eyes glinting with greed as they grab their rifles and head out into the snow. It doesn't take them long to pick up her trail. They spot Cheyenne moccasin prints, pressed into the frost, small and frantic, heading deep into the wilderness. One of them spits into the wind and mutters, "She's with hostiles, bet my life on it." James doesn't care who she's with, he just wants her back under his thumb, or gone for good. The hunt is on, and the stakes are deadly. Out in the wild, Taka Iron Horse knows trouble's coming. He's got Lila and Koda moving fast, their breath puffing in the cold as he leads them away from the open plains. He takes them toward a hidden canyon, a narrow slit in the earth where the wind cuts sharp and the walls rise high. It's a place his people have used for generations, a secret kept from outsiders. He's calm but quick, showing Lila how to brush snow over their tracks with a pine branch. "Step light," he tells her, his voice steady. "Let the earth hide us." Then he kneels by Koda's travois and shows her something else, how to listen to the wind. "It talks," he says, tilting his head. "Hear that low hum? Means riders are out there, still far but closing in." Lila tries it, closing her eyes, and she catches the faint sound like a whisper of danger. Taka pulls a hawk feather from his pouch, its edges soft and brown, and hands it to her. "This carries prayers to the sky," he says, pressing it into her palm. "Keep it close." She tucks it into her shawl, her fingers trembling, but her face set with new strength. They settle for a moment in the canyon's shadow, the walls towering around them like silent guards. Lila looks at Taka, his dark eyes scanning the horizon, and she can't hold the question back anymore. "Why are you doing this?" she asks, her voice quiet but firm. "You don't know me. Your tribe hates people like me. Why risk so much?" Taka doesn't answer right away. He pokes at the small fire he's built, the flames dancing low to keep the smoke hidden. Then he speaks, his words slow and clear. "A warrior fights for the living, not the dead. My brother Hoka, he's gone, taken by men like your husband. I could let hate guide me, let it burn me up inside. But his spirit wouldn't want that. He'd want me to protect, not destroy." He looks at Koda, sleeping soundly on the travois, and then at her. "You're alive. Your boy's alive. That's what matters." Lila feels his words sink in, heavy and true, like a stone settling in a river. She sees the pain in his face, but also the peace, and it stirs something in her, a mix of gratitude and wonder. The air grows thicker now, the tension creeping in like a fog. A wolf howls somewhere close, its cry sharp and wild, cutting through the canyon. Lila freezes, clutching the hawk feather tighter, and Taka's hand moves to his bow, his body tense but still. He listens hard, his head cocked, and then he hears it, the faint thud of hoofbeats, distant but growing louder with every passing second. The posse's out there, riding hard, their greed pushing them through the storm. Taka stands, his shadow long against the canyon wall, and looks at Lila. "They're coming," he says, his voice low but sure. "We need to move deeper, stay ahead." She nods, pulling Koda's travois closer, her heart racing but her resolve firm. The wolf howls again, closer this time, and the hoofbeats echo like a drumbeat of doom. The chase has begun, and it's not just about survival anymore. It's about what Taka believes, that peace is worth more than vengeance. A Lakota truth he's staking everything on. This canyon's their shield for now, but it won't hold forever. Taka's leading them into the unknown, teaching Lila to trust the land and the spirits, just like he does. That hawk feather in her hand feels alive, a small piece of hope in a world closing in. James and his men are out there hungry for blood and gold, but Taka's fighting for something bigger. A chance to prove that hate doesn't have to win. The wind picks up, carrying the sound of pursuit, and the stakes climb higher with every step they take. They're in this together now, a warrior and a mother, running from the past but towards something neither of them can fully see yet. The forest watches, the wolves listen, and the chase is only just starting. The canyon can't hide them forever, so Taka Iron Horse makes a bold move. He brings Lila Whitefeather and her son Koda to his Lakota camp, a cluster of teepees nestled in a snowy valley, glowing soft in the dark. He's taking a risk, a big one, because his people don't trust outsiders, especially not now with settlers prowling the edges of their land. But he's got no choice. Koda's burning up with fever, his little body trembling despite the deer hide wrapped around him. Taka leads Lila straight to Wise Owl's teepee, the air inside thick with the smell of sage and cedar. Wise Owl, his grandmother, is a healer with hands as steady as the earth and eyes that see right through you. She doesn't hesitate. She takes Koda from Lila's arms, lays him on a soft buffalo robe, and starts working her magic. She crushes sage leaves, mixes them with water, and rubs the paste on his chest, singing low songs that feel like they're calling the spirits down from the sky. Lila watches, her breath catching as Koda's fever starts to break, his whimpers fading into sleep. Wise Owl looks at her, a small smile creasing her weathered face, and says, "You're a sister of the heart now. The spirits brought you here." Lila feels those words wrap around her like a warm blanket, a welcome she never expected. For a moment it feels safe. The teepee glows with firelight, the camp hums with quiet life, women tending pots, warriors sharpening spears. Taka stands by the entrance, his bow resting against the wall, watching Lila settle in. She's still clutching that hawk feather he gave her, holding it like a lifeline. Wise Owl teaches her a few words in Lakota, simple things like water and rest, and Lila repeats them, her voice shaky but eager. Koda stirs, his dark eyes opening, and he reaches for his mother with a tiny hand. It's a small victory, a flicker of hope in a world that's been nothing but cold and cruel. Taka feels it too, a lightness in his chest, like maybe he was right to trust his gut. But peace doesn't last long in a place this close to danger. Outside, the wind carries whispers, and not all of them are friendly. There's a shadow moving through the camp, a young warrior named Black Wolf, his steps quick and his face hard. He's been watching Taka, watching Lila, and he doesn't like what he sees. To him, she's not a mother or a sister. She's a threat, a spark that could burn their whole world down. Black Wolf corners Taka just outside Wise Owl's teepee, his voice sharp as a blade. "You bring death to us for a stranger," he snaps, his fists clenched, his eyes blazing with anger. "The settlers are out there hunting her, and you lead them right to our door." Taka doesn't flinch, but his jaw tightens. He steps closer, meeting Black Wolf's glare with a steady one of his own. "Courage isn't hiding," he says, his words firm and clear. "It's choosing who to save. She's not the enemy, they are." Black Wolf scoffs, his breath puffing in the cold air. "You're blind, Taka. You think the spirits care about her? She's not one of us!" He turns away, but Taka grabs his arm, holding him there for a heartbeat. "The spirits care about life," Taka says, his voice dropping low. "That's what I fight for." Black Wolf yanks free, his face twisting with something between fear and fury. And then he's gone, slipping into the night like a ghost. Taka watches him go, a knot forming in his gut. He knows Black Wolf's not just angry, he's scared, and scared men do dangerous things. What Taka doesn't see is where Black Wolf heads next. Out beyond the camp, past the last teepee, He finds a spot where the snow's fresh and the trees stand thick. He waits, his breath shallow, until he hears the crunch of boots and the jingle of spurs. James's posse rides up, their faces rough and their rifles glinting in the moonlight. Black Wolf steps out, his heart pounding, but his choice made. "She's here," he tells them, pointing back toward the camp. "The woman and the boy, with one of our scouts. Take them and leave us be." The leader, a grizzled man with a scar across his cheek, grins and tosses Black Wolf a small pouch of coins. "Smart choice, kid," he says, then signals his men to move. Black Wolf turns away, the weight of those coins heavy in his hand, telling himself he's protecting his people. But deep down, he knows he's just sold out a piece of his soul. The shadows of the riders stretch long across the snow, creeping closer to the camp, their hoofbeats muffled but growing stronger. Now the real trouble hits. Taka's back in the teepee, helping Lila bundle Koda up when he hears it, a low rumble that's not the wind. He steps outside, his hand on his bow, and sees the glow of torches flickering through the trees. The posse's closing in, fast, and there's no time to warn the whole camp. Lila follows him out, her eyes wide, Koda pressed tight against her. "They found us," she whispers, her voice trembling but her grip steady. Taka nods, his mind racing. "They've got two paths now. Run into the night alone, just the three of them. Or stay and face the tribe's judgment for bringing this danger here." Fleeing means leaving his people to fight a battle he started. Staying means risking everything on their trust. The air's thick with tension, the camp still quiet but teetering on the edge of chaos. Black Wolf's betrayal has tied a knot around them, tight and choking, and Taka's resolve is about to be tested like never before. The riders are almost here, and the choice is theirs to make. Dawn breaks over the Lakota camp, a thin line of gold slicing through the gray sky, but peace shatters with it. James Carver's posse charges in, a dozen men on horseback, their rifles spitting fire and smoke. The first shots ring out wild, splintering tippy poles and kicking up snow, waking the camp in a heartbeat. Women grab their children and duck low, warriors leap to their feet, and chaos erupts like a storm. Taka Iron Horse is already moving, his bow in hand, shouting orders to the men he's trained with since he was a boy. They don't reach for arrows or knives, not yet. Instead, they scatter into the trees, quick and silent, setting traps they've used for years to hunt. Ropes stretch tight across paths, hidden under snow, and branches bend back, ready to snap. The posse rides hard, thinking they've got the upper hand, but they don't know this land like Taka does. Horses stumble, caught by the ropes, and men tumble into the drifts, their guns slipping from their hands. It's not a slaughter, it's a dance, and Taka's warriors move like shadows, disarming the intruders with skill, not blood. Lila Whitefeather stands at the edge of the fight, Koda clutched tight in her arms, his little face buried in her shawl. She's scared, her heart hammering, but she's not running this time. She sees James now, riding in at the back, his face twisted with rage, his coat flapping like a vulture's wings. He spots her and reins up hard, his eyes locking on hers, cold and cruel. "You're mine," he bellows, his voice cutting through the gunfire. "You and that boy belong to me." Lila steps forward, her legs shaking but her spine straight, and faces him down. "I'm not yours to chain," she says, her words loud and clear, ringing over the chaos. "Koda will grow free, not broken like you wanted." The camp goes quiet for a split second, even the posse pausing as her voice carries. James snarls, his hand tightening on his rifle, and then he lunges, swinging down from his horse, aiming to grab her. But Taka's there, fast as lightning, his hand catching James's arm mid-swing. With one hard twist, he yanks the rifle free and snaps it over his knee, the wood cracking loud in the morning air. James stumbles back, stunned, his weapon gone, his power slipping. Then comes Wise Owl, stepping out from her teepee like she's been waiting for this moment. The fighting slows as she moves, her presence heavy, her white hair glowing in the dawn light. She holds a peace pipe in her hands, its bowl carved with stories older than anyone here. The warriors lower their fists, the posse freezes, and even the wind seems to hush. She walks straight to James, her eyes sharp and calm, and raises the pipe. "Blood feeds the earth," she says, her voice steady as stone, but peace feeds the soul. She holds his gaze unblinking and offers him a choice. Leave now, take your men, and live, or stay and face the spirit's judgment. James stares at her, then at the pipe, then at the camp around him. His men are on their knees, their rifles scattered, their horses tangled in ropes. Taka stands tall beside Lila, his broken rifle still in his hands, a quiet warning. Wise Owl doesn't move, doesn't flinch, just waits, the pipe steady between them. It's not a threat, it's a truth, a Lakota truth that says mercy is stronger than hate. The air feels thick, like the world's holding its breath, waiting for what James will do. James's face twists, anger warring with something else, something broken. He looks at Lila again, standing there with Koda, her chin high, her eyes fierce. He sees Taka, unyielding, and the warriors ready to fight, but choosing not to. Then he looks at Wise Owl, her peace pipe held out like a bridge he can't cross. His hand drops to his side, and a knife slips from his fingers, landing soft in the snow. He doesn't say a word, just turns, his shoulders slumping, and staggers back to his horse. "Get up," he mutters to his men, his voice hoarse, defeated. They scramble to their feet, grabbing what's left of their gear, and follow him out, their hoofbeats fading into the trees. Lila lets out a breath she didn't know she was holding, her knees weak, but her heart steady. Taka puts a hand on her shoulder, gentle and sure, and Koda peeks out, his fever gone, his eyes bright. The camp watches them go, silent, the dawn light spreading gold over the snow, washing away the shadows of the fight. This is the stand, the moment everything hangs on. The posse came for blood, but Taka and his people turned it back with skill and heart, not violence. Lila found her voice, facing down the man who tried to own her, and Wise Owl sealed it with wisdom older than the hills. James is gone, shaken to his core by a strength he can't break, a mercy he can't understand. The not black wolf tide is undone, not with a blade but with a choice to protect life instead of taking it. The camp settles, the warriors checking their traps, the women calling their children back. Taka looks at Lila, then at Wise Owl, and nods, a quiet promise kept. The danger's past, but the echoes of this morning will linger, a story of courage and peace carved into the snow, waiting to be told. The dawn fades into a quiet morning, and the Lakota camp breathes easier now that James and his posse are gone. The snow's marked with hoofprints and broken branches, but the people stand strong, their teepees still proud against the sky. Taka Iron Horse walks among them, his bow slung over his shoulder, his eyes scanning the faces of his tribe. They gather around Lila Whitefeather and little Koda, not with anger, but with something softer, acceptance. The warriors nod to Taka, their hands open instead of clenched, and the women bring blankets to wrap around Lila's shoulders. She's one of them now, not by blood, but by the fight she's lived through. Koda babbles in her arms, his fever long gone, his cheeks pink with life. Taka feels the weight lift, just a little, but he knows this peace is fragile. The settlers won't forget, and men like James don't let go easy. He pulls Lila aside, his voice low, and says, "We can't stay here forever. There's a place up north, in Canada, a camp where Cheyenne and Lakota live together, free from all this. We could go, start over." Lila looks at him, then at Koda, and nods, her heart already leaning toward a new beginning. Wise Owl calls them to her teepee later that day, her hands busy with something special. She's old, her fingers gnarled like tree roots, but they move with purpose, threading beads onto a shawl. It's beautiful, stitched with patterns of stars and buffalo, Cheyenne colors blending with Lakota designs. She drapes it over Lila's shoulders, her touch gentle but firm, and says, "You carry two worlds now. This shawl holds them both, your past and your future. Teach your son to walk in both, to honor the Cheyenne fire in his blood and the Lakota wind in his spirit." Lila runs her fingers over the beads, feeling the stories sewn into every stitch, and her throat tightens with gratitude. Wise Owl turns to Koda next, lifting him from Lila's arms, and holds him up to the light streaming through the teepee smoke hole. He giggles, a bright, clear sound, stronger than he's ever been. Taka steps forward and takes him, hoisting him high above his head, and Koda's laughter fills the space, pure and free. Wise Owl smiles, her eyes crinkling, and whispers, "This boy will carry us forward." It's a moment of joy, but it's tinged with the bittersweet truth. They're leaving this land behind. Time moves on, and the journey north isn't easy. They travel with a small band from the tribe through forests and over rivers, the snow giving way to spring mud, then summer grass. Taka leads them, his hawk feather tied to his hair, a quiet reminder of the prayers that got them here. Lila learns the trail, her hands growing calloused, but her spirit lighter with every mile. Koda grows too, toddling now, his dark eyes wide with wonder at the world. They reach the mixed camp in Canada, a place where Cheyenne and Lakota voices mix with the wind, where no one cares about the lines men draw between people. It's not their old home, not the valleys Taka hunted or the plains Lila's ancestors roamed, but it's theirs. They build a life there, a small lodge by a lake, its walls hung with furs and woven mats. The camp buzzes with life, children laughing, fires crackling, and Lila finds a place among the women, sharing her story, teaching Koda the songs she once sang in secret. Taka hunts and scouts, but he's more than that now. He's a father, a guide, a man who chose peace over pain. Years later, the sun dips low over that lake, painting the water gold and red. An older Lila stands by the shore, her hair streaked with gray, the beaded shawl still bright on her shoulders. She watches Koda, now a boy of 8, running with other children, his feet sure on the earth, his laughter carrying across the waves. He's strong, taller every day, and he speaks both Cheyenne and Lakota like they're one tongue. Taka's nearby, sitting on a log, his hands working a tall piece of wood into a story pole. He carves with care, etching their journey into its grain, the hawk feather that started it all, the broken rifle from that dawn stand, the shawl that tied their worlds together. Each mark tells a piece of who they are, a family born from flight and fight, held together by courage. Lila walks over, sitting beside him, and rests her hand on his. They don't say much, they don't need to. The camp around them hums with life, a mix of voices and songs, a new home built from the ashes of the old. Koda runs up, grinning, and points at the pole. "That's us, right?" he asks. Taka nods, ruffling his hair. "Always will be," he says. And here's where the story settles, bittersweet but warm, like the last light of day. James is gone, faded into a past they don't look back on, but the cost was leaving the land they loved. They've lost something, sure, but they've gained more. A life where Koda can grow free, where Lila's spirit sings again, where Taka's heart rests easy. The story pole stands tall as the sun slips below the horizon, its carvings glowing in the dusk, a testament to what they've built. Their new life honors both Cheyenne and Lakota ways, a bridge between worlds that didn't exist before they made it. And as the lake reflects the fading light, a voice whispers over the scene, soft but sure. The spirits don't care about the color of your skin. They ask only one thing. Did you live with a brave heart? Lila, Taka, and Koda did, and that's enough to carry them through. A family forged in the wild, rooted in love, and reaching for tomorrow. Well, there you have it, folks. This story isn't just about Lila and Taka braving the wild or finding a new home. It's about the wisdom of native peoples, the Cheyenne and Lakota, who've shown us that peace can outshine hate, that a brave heart can build something beautiful from pain. Their journey took them through snow and betrayal, all the way to a lake where Koda could run free. What did you think of it? Did their courage hit you right here, in the chest? Drop a comment below. Let me know what moved you. Hit that like button if their story touched your soul. And if you want more tales like this, stories of strength and spirit, smash that subscribe button. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.